package. Governor Rumono releases 1.6 billion naira for settlements of gratuities. Wife of Akwa Ibom governor seeks intensive awareness on immunization against cervical cancer. Israel-Hamas war. Biden to visit Israel as Putin calls for ceasefire. Akwa United to play NPFL home game in Eket. Details shortly. Good morning and welcome to AKBC 45 News at Dawn. I am Samuel Ayara with the details. The news is streamed on Facebook at AKBC Radio and TV. Now to the details. In line with his promise to clear all arrears of retired workers, the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Rumono, has approved the prompt release of an additional 1.6 billion naira. The amount is designed to pay down the arrears of gratuities of retired primary school teachers, local government workers, and civil servants in the state. According to the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. Keretudo, Pastor Rumono is determined to keep to the promise he made to the organized labor in the state during its one-day national protest march to regularly set aside funds for continuous payment of gratuities. The governor had previously released 3 billion naira for the same purpose, bringing the total amount so far released to 4.6 billion naira. Wives of local government chairman of Nigeria, Wolgon, Akwa Ibom State chapter, have been charged to actively get involved to ensure that teenage girls in their localities aged between 9 to 14 are available for the administration of the human papilloma virus vaccine, a vaccination that will prevent cervical cancer at a later stage in life. The wife of the state governor, Pastor Patience Eno, gave the charge when members of Wolgon paid a courtesy visit on her at Government House, Uyo. Margaret Bassi was there and now reports.
Pastor Eno implored the wives of chairmen as frontliners in their communities to have a regular interface with women at the grassroots and dialogue on how to promote family standards and ensure a safe and secure society. The governor's wife said a pet project, which will be unveiled soon, focuses on the well-being of families and has already commenced its activities, such as reaching out to the less privileged members of society and providing succor to them. While soliciting support for the success of her vision for families, the governor's wife noted that her pet project is in line with the Arise agenda of Governor Moeno and called on wives of local government chairmen to be actively involved in interpreting her vision for the state.
We've been working underneath, and the reason has been we've been waiting for our mother, the wife of the president, to launch her own out before we can, kill behind that. The key focus of my key project is on family, and so I will have you or need you to support me. Let us project family. Let us support family. I welcome ideas on family, what to do to help an average Akwa Ibom family.
Speaking earlier, the chairperson, Wives of Local Government Chairman of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State Chapter, Mrs. Maria Therese Robson, said the purpose of their visit was to inform her that their husband's tenure as local government council chairman will end in November this year. She appealed to the First Lady to carry them along in a project for the state and assured that they are willing and ready to partner her even after their husbands have vacated office. Mrs. Robson also assured her of members' capacity for grassroots mobilization for the success of the RISE agenda of the Governor Moino's administration.
We wanted to meet one-on-one because we all know that the tenure of our husbands is winding up by the end of next month. That is why we decided to meet you. But now we want to stand here to tell you that we are grassrooters and we are deeply rooted. We want to continue working with you. Whether we are wives of chairman or not, we are Akwa Ibom women. So we appeal that you should please carry us along.
Also speaking, the Wild God Secretary, Mrs. Itoro Cletus, thanked Pastor Moino for his leadership acumen and prayed God to fortify him with the grace, wisdom, and ability to govern Akwa Ibom State efficiently. Margaret Bassi, AKBC News.
19 persons who participated in a 2-week intensive course on biomedical engineering at the Imabridge Medical Center, Ogoruta in Ibesikwa Sultan local government area, have been presented with certificates. The course, which was organized by Imabridge Africa in collaboration with MedShare, was handled by a United States-based biomedical engineering expert, Mr. Eben Armstrong, and afforded participants the opportunity to handle and maintain medical equipment for enhanced services. Esther Rumoren brings us the story.
The chairman on the occasion, Mr. Ephraim Ope, said reasons medical personnel leave the country to practice outside are lack of proper medical equipment, lack of knowledge to use medical equipment, and repair them when faulty. He expressed the hope that the training had filled those needs for proficient healthcare delivery in the states and the country at large.
Nothing makes them to leave the country seeking medical attention elsewhere, apart from the fact that, if I may say it, our people are not committed. Because if all were to be committed, those who are meant to diagnose through their work, those who are meant to repair the instruments through their work, those who are meant to ride the car through their work, and then the drivers or the ambulance are readily available.
The director, Imabridge Medical Center, Dr. John Morton, and its chief medical director, Dr. Joseph Ekbenyo, both spoke on efforts made so far in making the training series a success.
We are trying to look at the developed and the underdeveloped, and we have Imabridge Africa out there registered under 502C, and we have Imabridge Development Foundation International registered under Corporate Affairs Commission. So there are two NGOs under one umbrella working together.
Our problem in this country is maintenance, that we lack the maintenance culture. Once they bring something from abroad, or the government gives something to any community, it's abandoned. No maintenance, no repairs until that thing gets spoiled. So based on that, Imabridge thought, put it across, because that all the equipment we have here need to be maintained.
The chief trainer and the US-based expert in biomedical engineering, Mr. Eben Armstrong, expressed gratitude to God for the successful training and appreciated the students for cooperating with him throughout the training duration, noting that such made the work easier for him.
I just want to use this opportunity to also thank the entire staff of this hospital. They've been awesome, very, very friendly. Thank you so much. I'll go with love in my mind. I'll go looking at the sky and seeing your hospital how beautiful and how clean it is. Thank you, the administrator. Thank you, the HR. Thank you, the entire staff. Thank you, medical director. Thank you, our young doctors. And thank you, the biomedical engineering team. Give your hand of applause, please. Now,
Goodwill messages were presented by some staff of Limabridge Medical Center, a member of the Wurotad Community Development. Gift items and certificates were presented to the graduates. Some graduates speak.
We are undergoing subsidized surgeries for myomectomies, appendectomies, and herniorrhaphy. To break down the big English, fibroids, hernias, and cyst removals. Come January 2nd, medical missions will begin.
Today, I'm very glad that we have assembled a team of engineers today in Oruta.
He is ready to train all of us, those that are here, and those that are here. And truly, that is what he did.
Esther Maureen, AKBC News.
Women in Nature Conservation Organization, WINCO, weekend held its maiden exhibition of jackfruit value chain products in Uyo. Briefing journalists on the exhibition talked Jackfruits Fair, the Chief Executive Officer of WINCO, M.M. Umar, said the jackfruit value chain has come to stay in the state. Irena Paul reports.
According to Ememumor, jackfruit is widely cultivated in tropical regions. The fruit is highly productive, it generates revenue to any economy and requires minimal care.
Today, Women in Nature Conservation Organization deemed it timely and necessary to organize the first ever exhibition of jackfruit value chain products to showcase to Akwa Ibomites, to Nigerians and Africans its untapped potentials. This is happening exactly 9 months after the maiden summit we facilitated in January this year. Jackfruit has a characteristic flavor and is highly versatile.
Umar appealed to the Akwa Ibom State government to partner with the organization by adopting the planting of jackfruit, ensuring that with that, the economy of the state will improve.
As I conclude this press conference, I present to Akwa Ibom State people, I present to Nigerians and to Africans the newest brand of healthy and nutritious jackfruit products, and of course the seedlings for health, for wealth, and for sustainability, especially in these days of climate and biodiversity crisis.
Stakeholders and participants bared their minds on the jackfruit value chain venture.
And I think that the greatest employer of labor would be agriculture if we know how to, add value, to the things that we produce.
And one of the cardinal pillars of climate resilience is adaptive capacity, coping capacity. So this initiative is one of that.
Whatever brings unity, whatever brings love, and also whatever brings peace is always in support of. This is really a good thing you have started.
Transfer this technology to the grassroots. Dr. Leon in 1980 says, let the effective one provide effective assistance to the weaker ones.
As Israeli-Hamas war rages, President Biden to visit area. Plus, do ghosts exist? Sit back as reporter takes a look at this controversial issue. This and more when the news returns.
This is our home, where we all belong. The place where life is beautiful. The peaceful ambience we enjoy when we live together in unity and love. It's all man and you know. We go stand together, we go make them better. We be brothers and sisters, no matter where we be. It's all man and you know. No matter where we be, we are one. Let's live together in peace and harmony.
Now to the rest of our stories. According to the Holy Book, after death is judgment. Do you believe in ghosts? Stories abound of dead people coming back to roam the streets for people to see. Are these just fables? Iyana Paul, in the report that follows, attempts answers to these questions.
Whether they are myths or facts, imaginations or make-believe, there have been many stories about the death passed on from one generation to another. While some say after death the spirits ascend to heaven or hell, a lot others believe in the reincarnation, while a greater number argue that the soul of the dead wanders on earth. What actually happens to the dead even after the body has been embalmed at homes or in the mortuaries? Do they get up to buy beer for themselves, as always speculated, or travel somewhere to visit the living? In the first instance, do ghosts exist? If so, who has seen one?
I've heard of seeing somewhere, but I've not seen.
What happens to the dead in people's opinion? And why do embalmers knock on the doors where the corpses are kept before entering?
because Jero is spiritual.
Yes, but all those things are just for formality. It doesn't add to anything.
According to the Holy Bible, after death is judgment, where the soul departs the flesh to the Creator, and by that no room for a dead man selling in the market as claimed by many.
No, you know, I sincerely believe can ban through. Again, we also go through every gong song sometimes. I got it. If I change what I was in the market and the
What is the position of a cleric on this?
In ATR, that is African traditional religion. They may believe so. From the theological point of view, the Bible says that it is appointed for a man to die once, and the next appearance is on the judgment day. So people may have different beliefs. I'm coming from the biblical aspect of it. I may tell that to be a superstitional belief, in the sense that we may carry the image of the loved one at the back of our mind, and even if we are going out, you see something that look like the person that just died.
Mr. Elijah That is an embalmer with over 40 years experience.
And the embalmment, I think I'm going to 1981. This has been my 43 years.
Mr. That opens up on why people speculate about the dead going round to sell, buy, bathe, eat, and even kill if commanded to do so.
Chemical, formaldehyde for preservation. I remain for preservation. I preserve a good rhythm. I work by my papa. I went on Toto. I get a go back. I got a go with them. I got a big woman side me as a good I got. And my father, I did it at the car. I just saw. I was a word. I'm making one. I get the word as a good I got. And my father, I was out the money. It is a 20,000. The young man where I didn't I just saw. And Bam, the Tom, I'm going to bantu with Ada. Then not Agabara. Manzen Barawu, I tell you, and Toto.
After hearing from Mr. Elijah at that there is nothing like Ekpo work edimpo, meaning that the person that died has gone out to buy something.
Do people still believe that the dead and embalmed could run around and do what the living does? Well, forget Mekbo Panyin, Mekba Utong, and love your life.
The state government has again reassured members of the public of its determination to rejig Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation, AKBC, to serve the people efficiently as the mouthpiece of government and watchdog of the society. Commissioner for Information, Comrade Nememobong, gave the assurance at a Thanksgiving service to mark the 35th anniversary of the AKBC Radio Chapel of the NUJ held at the Apostolic Church, Nigeria, Oron Road, Uyo. Represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Akbara James Edate, the Commissioner maintained that plans were underway to reposition the station to regain its pride of place as the people's radio. Recalling the glory days of the station, Comrade Memobong stated in strong terms that individuals, groups, religious, political, social, non-governmental, and traditional organizations have benefited from the services of the station in various ways. The Commissioner charged staff of AKBC to brace for the task ahead with a renewed zeal and commitment for effective service delivery anchored on people-oriented programs as well as project the rich cultural heritage of the state. Acting Director General, AKBC, Mrs. Magdalene Udokan, expressed optimism that better days are ahead for the station in view of the state government's lofty plans to reposition AKBC. She thanked Governor Umoeno and stakeholders for having the interests of the station at heart, saying it was an indication of the governor's desire for a better Akwa Ibom and pledged the station's readiness to reciprocate government's gesture through productive service delivery to the people. The chairman, Akwa Ibom Council of NUJ, Comrade Amos Etuk, paid glowing tributes to AKBC for its contribution to societal development through its news reportage and other services, as well as growth of the union, while the Radio Chapel chairman, Comrade Mfon Uye, conveyed the commitment of members of the chapel to promoting responsible reportage.
We decided that this year, as we come to say, God, thank you for the years of life, we have also come to say, God, take the lead for the years ahead. Because without you, we can do nothing. And I believe that for this purpose, whatever we will be in challenge, as a individual, as a corporate organization, that God will take the lead and we are thankful for this.
U.S. President Joe Biden is to travel to Israel and Jordan to meet with both Israeli and Arab leadership concerning fears that the raging Israeli-Hamas war could expand to a larger regional conflict. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken announced Biden's travel to Israel as the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip grows more dire, and as Israel prepares for a possible ground attack on the 141 square mile territory to root out Hamas militants responsible for what U.S. and Israeli officials say was the most lethal assault against Jews since the Holocaust. Blinken made the announcements Tuesday after more than 7 hours of talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other Israeli officials. Blinken emphasizes deep commitment to Israel after Israel denies report of ceasefire in Gaza Strip. UN chief said that he is coming here at a critical moment for Israel, for the region and for the world. Blinken added that Biden would be briefed by Israeli officials on their war aims and strategy and would hear about how they intend to conduct operations in a way that minimizes civilian casualties and enables humanitarian assistance to flow to civilians in Gaza without benefiting Hamas. Blinken has already been traveling around the Middle East this past week to prevent the war with Hamas from igniting a broader regional conflict. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin says civilian death toll in Gaza could see a catastrophic increase and worried of the risk of a regional war after talking to Iranian and Arab leaders on Monday. The Kremlin said Putin had spoken to the Syrian, Egyptian and Iranian counterparts as well as Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas. Kremlin Foreign Policy aide Yuri Ushakov said Putin would also speak to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The Kremlin statement stressed that all the leaders called for an immediate ceasefire and the establishment of a humanitarian truce to provide urgent assistance to those in need. Putin said he was ready to coordinate efforts with all constructive partners to put an end to hostilities and stabilize the situation as quickly as possible. Also, Pope Francis, representative in the Holy Land, said on Monday he was willing to exchange himself for Israeli children taken hostage by Hamas and held in Gaza. Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa, the Patriarch of Jerusalem, made this commitment in response to a question during a video conference with journalists in Italy. The first thing to do is to try to win the release of the hostages, otherwise there will be no way of stopping an escalation. About 200 people were taken hostage, while a dozen of them are believed to be children. United States President Joe Biden, in an interview at Sunday, said it would be a big mistake for Israel to occupy Gaza, but said that the country had to respond to the Hamas attack last weekend. Asked if it was time for a ceasefire given the loss of lives, Biden said there is a fundamental difference. Israel is going after a group of people who have engaged in barbarism that is inconsequential as a Holocaust. Egypt on Monday said that Israel was not cooperating with the delivery of aid into Gaza and evacuation of foreign passport holders through the only entry it does not wholly control, leaving hundreds of tons of supplies stuck. The Nigeria Premier Football League Board has granted Akwa United's request to play her remaining home matches of the 2023-2024 season at the 18,000-seater capacity Eket Stadium. In a letter dated October 16, 2023, and signed by the league's chief operating officer, Davidson Owomi, the league body has approved the Eket Stadium for Akwa United until such a time that the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium will be less busy with international matches. FIFA and CAF recently approved Godswill Akpabio International Stadium as the only suitable stadium in Nigeria to host international matches involving clubs and the national teams. With the approval, Akwa United will play their Day 4 match against Shooting Stars at Eket Stadium on Sunday, October 22, 2023. The league organizers urged the Akwa Ibom State Football Normalization Committees to ensure they provide all necessary logistics for smooth and hitch-free matches in Eket. That's the news, but before we go, another look at the stories that made the headlines. In line with his promise to clear the arrears of retired workers, the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Umano, has approved the release of an additional 1.6 billion naira. The amount is designed to pay down the arrears of gratuities of retired primary school teachers, local government workers, and civil servants in the state. We also brought you the report that U.S. President Joe Biden is to travel to Israel and Jordan to meet with both Israeli and Arab leadership concerning fears that the raging Israel-Hamas war could expand to a larger regional conflict. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced Biden's travel to Israel as the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip grows more dire. On that note, we draw the curtains on our news this morning. Our next bulletin comes up by 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Between now and then, I trust you continue to enjoy the rest of our broadcast offering. I am Samuel Ayara, and thank you for joining us.